Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about video games. Summer Game Fest 2024 has come and gone. It's always fun to get new game announcements as well as see how some previously announced games are shaping up. I watched and streamed 3 of the presentations from the past weekend over on Twitch. If you want to catch the VODs while they're still up, you can find them at twitch.tv/cannotbetamed. Overall, I thought there were a lot of good showings over the week, and I wrote down a number of names of games and put a bunch on my Steam wishlist to check out when they release. Of course, I wasn't interested in everything. There was also a ton of live service games, multiplayer shooters, and so many crafting and farming sims, but I understand that other people like those. Starting out with the Summer Game Fest presentation itself, Jeff Keighley actually mentioned all of the layoffs in the industry recently, which was nice. He also let everyone know that indies is really where it's at, and so many of the best games are coming out from the indie, or at least less than AAA space, which I totally agree with. Overall, I didn't find the Summer Game Fest presentation particularly exciting. As usual, in all the Keighley-run shows, there was way too much time with developers who are not professional speakers on stage, when I feel like they should really just stick to the game trailers because that's what everyone's there for. However, there were a few games that I was excited about, even if there were less than some of the other presentations. So starting out, Civ 7 was announced, developed by Firaxis. It's been 8 years since Civ 6, and although I wasn't a huge fan of Civ 6, I put a ton of time into Civ 5, as well as 2 through 4. The trailer did not show any gameplay, but I feel like if you've played other Civ games, you can sort of imagine what a Civ 7 will look like. There will be a gameplay reveal in August, and the game plans to release next year in 2025. Tears of Metal is one I hadn't seen before. This is developed by Paper Cult. It is a roguelike hack and slash that can be played either solo or co-op. I really like the design of this game. It's medieval and it takes place in Scotland. Some of the glimpses we got showed some base building and power-ups, which looked really interesting to me. This looks like it could be a fun one to play with friends. Currently, it looks like it's only on Steam, but there is no release date yet. Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is being developed by Digital Eclipse. This is a retro-styled beat-em-up that you can play with up to 5 players. This honestly reminds me a lot of the recent TMNT Shredder's Revenge, except with Power Rangers instead. I used to watch a lot of Power Rangers as a kid, and though beat-em-up is not my favorite genre, it is a fun one to play with friends, either online or couch co-op. I'll definitely go through the campaign of this with friends at some point, and it's set to release later this year. Cairn is the latest game by the Game Bakers. They made Haven a few years back, and I absolutely loved that game. Their trilogy of games has a theme of freedom, as they said during one of the presentations, and this one is completely focused on mountain climbing. Unlike last year's Jusant, which also featured climbing, this one seems a lot more concerned with resource management and survival. You need to pick your route up cliffs. Some may work, some may not. You also have to be strategic of where you're using your pitons because you only have so many of them. I really like some of the visuals here, especially the shaky legs while climbing, which I can definitely relate to. This is set to come out on PC and consoles in 2025. Unknown 9 Awakening is being developed by Reflector Entertainment. This looks to be a narrative-heavy action game where you play a character who can travel to a different dimension. The environments showed in the trailer were stunning and extremely varied, and the combat looked exciting. It looks like you can access an alternate dimension version of yourself while you're in combat. The trailer really brought to mind games like Banishers, which I really liked earlier this year, just games that have a big story focus while having some interesting gameplay as well. This one is set to come out for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox in the fall of 2024.
Night Springs, a special place, a shifting space, existing in a countless number of parallel realities.
The thing that I was most excited about from this presentation was the announcement of the Night Springs DLC for Alan Wake 2. Sam Lake came out on stage, showed a trailer, and said, "It's coming out tomorrow." So this game is already released. The next day, I immediately went and upgraded my version of Alan Wake to the deluxe edition so that I could get all the DLC. So far, I have played through one of the 3 episodes that is available. In this one, you play the waitress Rose, and I had a really good time with it. It's very kind of ridiculous and surreal and over the top, and has a lot of combat in it, but much faster combat than you actually experience in the game. You get an automatic shotgun, which is pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to playing those other 2 episodes soon. They also announced that there will be a physical edition of Alan Wake 2 for all you physical perverts out there who have been holding off on buying what was one of the best games of last year. So the Sunday after Summer Game Fest was the Xbox showcase, and honestly, as a showcase, Xbox really killed it. They had so many trailers, so many things that people would be excited about, bringing back old series, showing games that have been in development for a long time, as well as introducing some new things. However, can this translate into actually releasing good games? Recent history suggests maybe not, but I am holding out hope, and I'm pretty sure that at least a few of these will be excellent. Doom: The Dark Ages by id Software is one I am pretty confident will be great. We got the first trailer here taking Doom sort of back in time to a more medieval time frame, and he's battling the demons of hell as always. What's new here is some kind of like saw shield that revs up like a chainsaw and can also be thrown. There was also some interesting looking weapons. It looked like a 4-barrel shotgun, like horizontal 4-barrel shotgun. I've seen interviews with developers that say they're going to make Doom a little more grounded this time, which makes me happy. Doom Eternal was good, but I didn't much care for all the platforming and flying through the air. This game, they're going back to the original with a lot of strafe shooting, which is very good news for me. This is supposed to be coming out in 2025 for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. State of Decay 3 by Undead Labs was first announced maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we never really heard much about it afterwards. This new trailer honestly didn't give us a whole lot to go on other than the fact that the game still exists. It was mostly a cinematic trailer. I saw some interviews later that were saying that there is going to be a focus on co-op like State of Decay 2, but people will have more freedom within the sort of shared co-op world, which sounds interesting. Personally, I really like State of Decay 1 most, but I'm always up for a zombie game. No release date for this one. Dragon Age: The Veilguard by BioWare got a trailer. I guess they've renamed it from Dreadwolf, which I think was a better name. I honestly got strange kind of like hero shooter multiplayer vibes from this trailer, but I have read interviews with devs and that is not the case. This is going to be a single player role-playing game. I really like the art style and that they haven't opted for a hyper-realistic look with the characters. It's just slightly more cartoony, but not over-the-top cartoony. It also seems to be going all in with the real-time combat, which isn't surprising given the trajectory of the series. Also, as someone who always played Dragon Age on console, I never found it that tactical of a game to begin with, even back to Dragon Age Origins. This is set to come out this fall for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is by new developer Sandfall Interactive. And first, this is a terrible title. But it looks gorgeous with some weird, surreal environments. The story is also very strange. In this world, there is a paintress who paints a number, and then everyone of that age dies. So you're basically going on a mission to defeat the paintress and prevent any more people from dying. What really stands out about this game is that it has turn-based combat. I was really thrilled to see a game that looks like this not be a Souls-like, because it seems like every pretty combat-heavy game is a Souls-like lately. So I'm pretty excited for this. It looks a little different than what we've seen before. This one is coming out in 2025 for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Your target is in possession of a radioactive device. Stop Carrington's attack at all costs. Good luck, Agent.
Perfect Dark got a surprise trailer. This is a game from the early 2000s that many people have been clamoring for, especially after Microsoft bought Rare. This new game is being developed by The Initiative and Crystal Dynamics. I did like what Crystal Dynamics did with the Tomb Raider series. Honestly, it looks pretty cool, a combination of immersive sim with stealth and shooting and some really cool spy gadgets. The gameplay reminded me a lot of the newer Deus Ex games. Hopefully I like this a little bit more than I liked those. This is still a few years out from release, and apparently the development has been tumultuous, but it is one to keep an eye on. Editing Pam here. For some reason, I call Fable 4 Fallout 4 for the duration of this section. I don't know why, but I am indeed talking about Fable 4. We also got another trailer for Fallout 4 developed by Playground Games. This trailer focused on the series' trademark humor with some good voice acting and writing. It also showed a little bit of the gameplay, which looked like a newer, more modern Fallout game. Just looks a little fancier, a little prettier. This is supposed to come out sometime in 2025, possibly just for Windows and Xbox. We also got a new, very long trailer for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, developed by Machine Games. I'm very excited for this because I really loved what Machine Games did with the Wolfenstein series. They've shown that they can do some really good first-person combat. In this one, you get to wield a whip and crack wise and punch Nazis and solve puzzles. I think this game just looks really fun. It's set to come out later this year for PC and Xbox. We also got a new trailer for Avowed, developed by Obsidian. This is an action RPG, which can be played in both first or third person, which I'm pretty excited about. Originally, I thought it was only first person. I also recently learned that this takes place in the same world as Pillars of Eternity, and I greatly enjoyed the Pillars of Eternity CRPGs. The trailer shows you juggling melee, magic, and firearms during combat. There was a big preview of this in January, and I thought it looked a little on the janky side. I didn't notice it here, although this trailer was cut together much faster than the preview back in January, so we'll just have to wait and see. This has a release date of November 12th for PC and Xbox. Next was a trailer for a game I hadn't heard anything about before. Atomfall is developed by Rebellion Developments, who are the studio who makes the Sniper Elite and Zombie Army series, which I quite enjoy. This is a post-apocalyptic action survival game. It has a really cool aesthetic, which alternates between like an idyllic British village, except with robots and like downed helicopters and things, and then very surreal and magical looking environments. Don't have a ton of info on this one yet, but it looks cool and is set for release sometime in 2025. There's also a new Gears of War coming out. E-Day is a prequel to the series developed by the Coalition. I have played very little Gears, but it is nice to see Xbox go back to one of the original series that sort of made it. I know a lot of people who will be excited for this, and I will definitely play through it if it has a 4-player co-op mode, which I'm pretty sure it will. There were also 2 games shown during the Xbox showcase that I really liked the concept of, but for some reason they used limited character animation frames, and watching the trailers made me nauseous. Mixtape is an 80s inspired slice of life type adventure, and South of Midnight has this really cool Cajun vibe. You spend a lot of time in the bayou, but based on the trailers, I'm gonna get sick if I play these. So this is something that I also experienced with the game Sable, where I played it and it was very pretty, but I had to put it down after 20 minutes because I didn't want to throw up. So I hope this doesn't become a trend in gaming because it really makes me nauseous. So as you just saw, there were a ton of games showed at the Xbox showcase, many coming out later this year, some for next year. There was also a bunch more that I haven't really mentioned because I wasn't particularly interested in them. I hope most of them turn out well, and I hope Xbox doesn't do another round of shutting down studios after they release their games. The last presentation was the PC Gamer Show, and this focused more on indie and smaller games, and there were a number of things I hadn't heard about before that looked really cool. This show did have a ton of life simmy crafting and building games, but they also had so many trailers that there were plenty to choose from, and there were tons of games that I was interested in. Fallen Aces is a game developed by Trey Powell and Jason Bond. This one immediately stood out visually. It looks like a noir comic book. This is a first-person game where you play a character trying to take back the city from goons and gangsters. You can use melee weapons, everything from your fists to frying pans, Tommy guns. You have a choice between being stealthy or going in guns blazing through the non-linear levels. It's all voice acted and does have quite a heavy focus on story. This is going to be a 3-episode game, and I believe that episode 1 is already out in early access on Steam.
Where are you hiding? The more you hide, the more agents we send. And the more agents we send, well, come on out, you big bitch.
Okay.
I Am Your Beast is the latest from Strange Scaffold. They make really interesting games of all kinds of genres. Last year's El Paso Elsewhere was almost my favorite game of the year. This looks a little bit similar to that compared to the other games that they've made before. You play a man being hunted by the military, and you need to go through a series of levels, killing everything as quickly and cleanly as possible. You can replay levels to try to get faster times. The trailer in this had some really kick-ass music, and the gameplay looks really fun and fast-paced, and you need to puzzle your way through and find out the best way to make it through these levels. This one is going to be releasing on August 15th. Demon School is being developed by Necrosoft Games. This is a tactical RPG where you play a group of university students. You need to face off against monsters between the demon world and the human world. This honestly sounds a lot like Persona, but it takes place in an isometric perspective for exploration and the tactical combat. In addition to combat, you'll need to schedule your day and build relationships with your fellow classmates. This is set to release on September 13th and will be coming to consoles as well.
Then there's number.
Crescent County, developed by Electric Saint, is the one life sim game that I'm actually interested in. In this, you play a witch who is making deliveries and helping out people in town. You get a broom that you get to soup up and race with, you get friends to build relationships or romances with, and you get a place of your own to decorate. The story is supposed to be all about finding home. I think this just really looks charming. There's no set release date for this, but it will come out on Xbox as well as PC. Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days is being developed by piqued. This is a side-scrolling zombie survival game, and this is one of the few kinds of games where I actually enjoy scavenging and crafting. You play a group of survivors in a zombie apocalypse, and you need to create shelters, decide when to move, and balance people's physical needs with their psychological needs. This is the exact kind of game that I will always go for. There's not currently a release date, but this one went right on my wish list. Rise of the Golden Idol is developed by Color Gray Games and is the follow-up to Case of the Golden Idol. This is a very cool logic and deduction type game where you're solving crimes. In the game, you see a scene with some kind of crime going on, and you have to examine everything closely to fill in the blanks and find out who everyone is and exactly what happened here. Whereas the first game took place in the 18th century, this one takes place in the 1970s, but still focuses on the mysterious Golden Idol. This is set to release sometime this year.
Wake up, sleeper. We're in trouble. Lane's closing in, and we need this next contract to go right. But nothing's gone right so far.
And lastly, Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector is developed by Jump Over the Age. The first Citizen Sleeper was my game of the year in 2022. It's a fantastic narrative role-playing game with excellent writing and cool art. Here you'll continue on your journey as an escaped android with a malfunctioning body and a price on your head. You need to decide who to make friends with, how to spend your time, and get the resources you need to survive with dice rolls to determine outcomes. In this sequel, it looks like you get companions who will also help you on your journey and may influence the decisions that you make. This is set to release in 2025 and will be coming to consoles as well. Overall, I thought the PC gaming show was really good. The hosts were funny in a kind of corny way, but none of the bits really went on too long. They also just had such an incredible variety and amount of trailers. This is a presentation I will probably watch in the years to come. So that was my Summer Game Fest and all the games that I found interesting. I'm sure I probably missed writing down some. There's probably even more than the 23 or whatever I've talked about here. But let me know in the comments if you watched any of the presentations, what you thought of them, and what games you are most looking forward to. If you want to see more, check out one of my other videos here. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.